All right, we are back live from CanJam SoCal 2024, and I got Philip and Max with me. Philip is from Austrian Audio, and Max is from Ferrum Audio, and we're going to talk a little bit about these new headphones over here from Austrian Audio, and then we're going to go into some new stuff that is coming from Ferrum or was released recently from Ferrum, as well as some cool software updates, as well as hardware, I think, changes inside of the Vandola, and then.
In Vandola, there are no hardware changes.
Just firmware.
Software.
Okay, just software. Yeah, I'd heard there might be, but you know how the internet is.
I will talk through about this, and I will explain this.
Perfect. Yes, he's 10 times smarter than me, so he's going to go into great detail. Well, with the technical stuff, you know your stuff, man. It's impressive. So, anyways, let us know in the comments how our audio is and video, if there's any issues whatsoever, because we are squeezing 3 of us in here, so I just want to make sure the audio is good for everybody. It should be. These are pretty high-end microphones, so we should be all right. So, Philip, tell us a little bit about these headphones. Tell us about, the design language behind them, what kind of drivers they're using, the efficiencies, all the good stuff.
Yeah, and just let me introduce myself, because I'm from Austrian Audio, and Austrian Audio is not a so well-known brand in the high-end industry now. Actually, we come from the pro side of business. We are based out of Vienna, and we are doing a lot of microphones and headphones, actually, for professional musicians and engineers. And we have taken this expertise and our expertise from the past years, because we're all in the audio industry for many years already, to bring it into this audiophile community. And I think we have a very attractive offer with the Composer. That's the name of the headphone, the Composer. It's all made in Vienna, so we're really manufacturing this at our office in Vienna. Downstairs we have a little boutique manufacturing there, and we have actually brought some very nice feature into this headphone, which are worth mentioning. We have actually a dynamic driver, 49 millimeters, so really conventional dynamic driver, but with a ring magnet system. That helps a lot, because if the magnet part is not obstructing the membrane from the back, it's much easier for the air to move back and forth. And these are open back, so if you put them on your head, and I can only show you, please do this test if you got to listen to them. Put your hand next to your ear, you will actually notice the difference in sound. So open are these headphones. They are very sensitive, so 112 volt, 112 dB SPL per watt.
Wow, they're very efficient.
So very efficient, great to listen to. Also, if you only have, for example, your MacBook with you, you can use that. Obviously, I would recommend to use it with a decent headphone amplifier, like the Full Score 1. We also launched that one. It's an analog headphone amplifier, but a very powerful one with a very fast rise time. So it's really powerful beast. Can only recommend to try all the headphones on that amp too. But back to the headphone, because that's what I'm having here with me, and that's what I want to show you. Actually, you have these very nice ear pads that.
How did those attach?
Magnetic.
I love that.
Yeah,
everybody should do that.
Yeah, it's so convenient, and
yes,
you can't go wrong. You slam them on, you put them off. Every time they sit perfectly.
Do you have only one type of pads, or do you?
For the moment,
okay.
Yes, but we are working hard to get some more pad types out. Not ready yet, but coming soon.
Cool.
Little pieces. What's interesting about the ear cup here is, because we all have a little bit of different size of ears, but also angle of ears, and not to enlarge the cups too much, we made them rotatable, and I want to see if I can put that in the camera. You can actually rotate the cup.
Oh
here.
Wow, dude,
this is very nice.
That's a
because
very cool
this
innovation.
way we didn't have to enlarge the cup so much, because also you will find enough room for your ears.
And change the angle based on the shape of your ears.
Exactly,
that's brilliant.
Exactly. Then you have the conventional adjusting mechanism here. Worth mentioning is we have this net here that lets you breathe on your head if you have them on for long listening sessions. That's things we learned from the pro world. People working on headphones all the time, you really have to give them the best experience.
Yes.
For connectivity, we have not gone to this usual plugs that are with the other headphones. We actually have this banana plugs here. Might make you wonder, but Actually, it's very good because they have a lot of conductive surface. They are very easy to manufacture. You can get those banana plugs from RS Components or DigiKey, etc. And you can actually do your own cables if you want to. We even have put a reference design for the housing on our website for those people who are into 3D printing.
Yeah.
They can do their own cables. Also, it might not be necessary because the headphones come with the 4-pin XLR cable. And then we have also a cable for the Pentacon connector here, and one cable included for the regular TRS.
So you get all those cables with
all
it?
those cables are included.
That's going to make tons of people happy.
Yeah.
You get all the best options.
You get all the options.
Yeah.
You don't need to instantly go and buy more stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Or adapters.
Or
adapters. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all carrying those on our.
Yeah, everybody's got at least 4 or 5 of them somewhere in their house.
So these retail for $2,699 in the US. Currently, there's a show special on, but only on site here. Very attractive offer. I hope I can convince some people to really listen to them, because I can talk about headphones for hours, but actually listening is believing.
Listening is it, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting a pair in for review and listening and filming them. They look beautiful. Yeah, very, very cool. Awesome. And so, Max, talk to us a little bit about what's going on. You got some changes to the Hypsos, and then you got some changes or improvements to the Vandola.
Plug-in to the Vandola.
Vandola, yeah.
And Erzo, but I'm going to start with the newest one, which is Hypsos dual output. And actually, it's a integration of the splitter which we had for connecting 2 devices to Hypsos, but right now we've integrated it into the box of the Hypsos itself. And actually, it works a little bit differently, because with typical power splitter, when you go with the cable out of the Hypsos, then the 4TSD function, which mitigates the voltage drop of the cable, works the same on both outputs. But with Hypsos dual output, it's a little bit different, because you get main output and auxiliary output. The main output has fully operational 4TSD function, and auxiliary one has it completely turned off. And this way you have way to prioritize your output. So, for example, in most typical scenario when you're using Hypsos for our stack with Vandola and Oer, then you can use the main output for Oer, which will draw quite some big transient currents.
Sure, yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, and for example, like headphones like Susvara, or any really power-hungry on headphones, it will draw really high transient currents, and then you can really utilize this 4TSD function. But for a DAC, which is Vandola, it has quite stable current consumption, so it doesn't really need so much this function.
So you put that into the second one?
Yes, to the auxiliary one. And with standard splitter, you would have to compromise, because they will be connected together, and then more the current drops of the Oer would go onto the Vandola output. Right now, you're able to stabilize more the voltage on the Oer, and where you don't need it, you just use the auxiliary output. And right now you have the choice to prioritize one of the outputs, especially in the scenarios when you have DAC and amplifier. So that's the main case. And actually, it's a little bit cheaper than buying standard Hypsos and
the splitter.
And the splitter.
Yeah.
So that's this is the most new thing which we have. But now I will go to the Vandola Golden Sound Edition. Vandola Golden Sound Edition itself, it's only a software change, and we call it right now a plugin, because you can also convert your regular Vandola to the Golden Sound Edition. And the Golden Sound Edition, we made it with Cameron Oldie from it's called Golden Sound. And we made some additional DSP functions. First of them is the Impact Plus, but it's not just, it is a bass boost, but it's not just a typical bass shelf, flat bass shelf, but we added some additional peak around 60 Hz, where the most enjoyable bass region lies. Lies? Okay. And the other one is the but at the same time, it's not overdone. It's not really high bass boost. It's just a subtle change, but it's really not noticeable. And for example, for some headphones, for some dynamic drivers, when they lack this, they have this bass roll-off, it really changes them a lot and evens out the bass response. The next thing is the tube mode. And actually, for this thing, we're using the ESS 9030 Pro DAC chip
Right.
THD compensation, but we're doing it wrong. But because we already have about minus 120 decibels of THD, and with this THD function, we weren't able to get it even lower because the resolution of this function isn't any lower than the distortion which we have. So we could use it in a different way. So we're actually adding additional second harmonic. So it makes sound it a little bit more like tubes, but again, it's not overdone it. It's just a subtle change.
Right.
And it's only an emulation of it. It makes the sound a bit more relaxed, but it's still not just. You cannot expect it to sound just
like
tubes.
tubes. Yeah, if you want tubes, you listen to tubes.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
At the end of the day.
So it's not in the end. It's not trying to sound completely like tube. It's just some kind of the. Okay, I think we might have a bit of problem.
No, we're still live.
We're still live?
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah,
Fine.
we're okay.
It's just a little tweak. It's not trying to be just as tube itself. So yeah, but the most important thing about Golden Sound Edition is the spatial enhancement, and it's not CrossFit. It's not trying to put the scene in front of you to emulate speakers. It's actually doing the opposite thing. For some content, it may widen up the sound stage, and the most important thing is that it's actually making you more able to pinpoint from which direction each sound is coming. So it's giving more resolution to the sound stage. And we have two modes. One of them is for speakers, and one of them is for headphones. Because of their position
Right.
to your ears, they need different treatment to give specific effect. Yeah.
Yep.
And about these hardware changes, it's unfortunate that with the in the time when the Vandola edition we presented it, we've also changed the standard Vandola. We've redesigned a little bit the voltage regulation. I mean the setting of the Red Book and Pro standard, and we've made it a little bit differently. So it's right now we have a specific analog circuit to do so, because this makes design more elegant. But for the older devices, for the older revisions of the board, we are using our volume regulation, which was still there. So the functionality is still there. There's no in measurements. There is no difference to it. It's just done a little bit differently. But actually, it has nothing to do with the Vandola edition itself. You have also it right now with standard Vandola. So that's why they got mixed up, and actually it was a bit of our mistake in terms of communication. We didn't state it properly, but actually Vandola edition has nothing to do with the hardware changes.
It's just firmware.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. So yeah, and the Erzo. Actually, we've released the second generation of Erzo.
Loved it. I reviewed it recently. I mean, it's fantastic for desktop use.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it was designed with desktop usage in mind. But when you want a remote, then you have Vandola.
Yes.
But I cannot do too much about it. But we're already thinking about some things to Erzo to change it, and probably the next one generation of Erzo will have a remote.
Cool.
But it's really long shot. I can only tell you that we're thinking about adding a remote to it, but it's not a near future.
Yeah. Down the road a ways.
Yeah, down the road, but we're already thinking about it.
Because you just recently released that, so you can't change it yet. You got
Exactly.
other things committed to the production line.
But we're listening to community. People want a remote, and we are thinking about Erzo as only a desktop. But right now it looks that, I mean, and I can understand it, that when you're buying a DAC, you want a remote.
Sure.
And yeah, we're already thinking about it, and we'll make it.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I used it desktop use, and I loved it. I loved it on the desktop. But then I have the Vandola. I have the full stack in my speaker hi-fi room, and then I also use the Vandola to feed into my Macintosh MHA 200 headphone tube amplifier, because that device, as great as it is, it has it doesn't really have a volume control. It's called a gain control, if you will, and it's very sensitive. Like it has a center point where they say to leave it at for gain control, and then you're supposed to use it with a preamplifier. But most people in the headphone hobby, they're not used to that, right? And so a lot of people are like, oh, and so the perfect solution is the Vandola. Pairing with the MHA 200, you have volume control, you leave it at that center spot, and they sound magnificent together. In fact, the owner of TSAV, Jason, that's like his favorite pairing now. So one of his favorite pairings. So yeah, it's brilliant. Very brilliant.
Yeah, and about Erzo, actually, I should say that Erzo Gen 2 is, we've made second generation of Erzo with the experience which we get by designing Vandola.
Right.
So when the first thing was that we took the digital configuration into the Serce module to Vandola from Erzo. This was experience from Erzo, and after that, with our experience from Vandola, with digital and some part of the current to voltage converter stage of the ESS DAC chip, we've put it into Erzo, and that's how the Erzo Gen 2 was bring to world. And yeah, we actually used the knowledge from Vandola, and that way we've made Erzo a little bit closer to Vandola itself in the sound signature.
Yeah, and they do sound similar. Yeah. And so that's cool because a lot of times in the audio world, the trickle down technology, we call it, right? Trickle down from the top end makes it into the more affordable line of products, and people that maybe can't afford the highest end of the products, they still get a lot of that great technology in the more affordable products. Yeah. So cool. So this is the first headphone you guys designed?
Well, not the first.
For this consumer industry?
For this industry.
For the consumer industry. Do you think in the future you'll have other different models and iterations and such? Because have you had success to where you want to continue to expand it?
Actually, it's really a huge success. We have sold quite a few units. I'm very happy with the product already.
Good.
Funny enough, we have sold not so many in the US so far. We have sold a good part in Europe and in Japan, actually.
Yeah.
So Japan is very much into that. But obviously, one headphone in the line of audiophile equipment is really not enough. So,
but it's a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Yep.
There are things cooking, but can't tell anything about it yet.
What the future holds is a secret for now. And then, how would you describe, if you were describing these headphones to somebody that's never heard them before, what kind of sound signature would you say they have?
Well, we always aim for a sense of clarity in headphones without being harsh. So we don't want to be harsh, but they will not really sweeten anything. So
more of a reference sound.
More of a reference sound. What we really do is we play to a very low end. So we have no roll off. This really play down to 10 hertz straight.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Really without raising the THD in that area. So they really play to a very low end. Actually, sometimes on the show floor, it's a bit hard to experience because we have a very heavy noise floor, especially low end here.
Super loud on this floor.
It's super loud, and our ears get deaf for deep frequencies. So if you're listening to a bass-heavy headphone here, it might sound linear.
Right.
If you listen to that outside in the quiet environment, it will blow your ears.
Yep.
This is something you need to know, but obviously a lot of people who are into headphones know that already, and I'm preaching to the knowing. So we really aim for very clear sound, but I think it's a very pleasant experience. We have a very good sound stage on this headphones. So, and this is what the feedback that I get from professional musicians and engineers, that they love them very much because they say, okay, even in the stereo mix, even if it's not a room mix, they can exactly see or hear where all the musicians are in the spectrum. So it really builds up a lot like in speakers and not so much like in a headphone. It resembles a bit the experience, not totally, but a bit the experience of the old AKG K1000 that really was basically a speaker in front of your ear and not a real headphone. But sound-wise, we're a bit there, but obviously with a bit more bass because the K1000 was, as we all know, lacking bass.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I like it. Yeah, very cool. And then, so on the horizon for you guys? Can't say anything either, but I'm sure you guys are always looking at new things and potentially doing something.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can say this because everyone is expecting this, and right now I've started finally making first steps to streamer.
Oh, very
So
cool.
we're already deciding on the hardware in it. So yeah, I can say that right now our priority is streamer.
Because then you have everything.
Yeah.
You've got the whole kit and caboodle basically for
Exactly.
the experience.
That's what
That's
we're missing,
cool.
and that's what we are focusing on.
Are you guys gonna? Well, I mean, I don't know how much you can tell me, but you see a lot of streamers now. Are you gonna go for just pure audio, more simplistic, or do you think you have a screen with the ability to see album artwork and such, or is that kind of up in the air right now, still being discussed?
It's still up in the air, but I think with this specific design, we'd rather focus more on the sound.
Streaming quality and audio
Yes.
quality, yeah.
Maybe in the future, but right now I think it will be our focus. But
Because you introduce those screens, you introduce other issues too. Because
Yes.
different power supply for the screen. It can create issues in noise and
yeah, I mean we have quite experience with screens, especially with Vandola, and it's not an easy task. It's
yeah.
always
I figured.
it's always coming back to hit you in the back of your head.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, cool. What do you guys have anything else you want to share? I don't see any questions right now from the group. I'm sure they'll probably pop questions on. If you guys out there have any questions, please feel free to ask. Anything else? How has your experience been at CanJam so far? Is this your first
No,
SoCal
actually,
CanJam or?
No, I was here last year.
Oh, and-
because
okay,
we
cool.
introduced it basically last year, so it's the first anniversary
That's true.
today.
That is true. Yeah, that's
first
right.
anniversary today, and I would say, I mean, CanJam is always great fun, and I mean, it's we have very good reactions today. I mean, we're just 2 hours into the show, but I can tell from last year, I mean, people were lining up to listen to the headphones.
This is crazy.
And
It's
this
more
is,
people.
This is really cool. I mean, it's also nice because with the people here at the show, you really get good questions. You get the good conversations. It's not so much like they don't sound like the Beats. It's yeah, sorry to say that, but I mean, honestly, if you're going to a consumer show like IFA or something like that, then you have questions like that, and you know that probably if he's into, I don't know, Beats or Skull Candy, he will never get a decent pair because it's a bit of a gap there. I mean, we also have affordable products even in the Pro line because not every Pro
Sure.
can afford
Yeah.
$2,500 headphone.
Sure.
I mean, Austrian Artist's aim is always to give people best value for money. So no matter at which price point you buy from our brand, I'm always arguing, and that's my heartbeat. Only best sound quality for the money. That's
Cool.
really what we. And even within our quoted cheapest headphones, you find really decent own design drivers inside. That's what the core. You will never sacrifice that. We might sacrifice a bit on the hardware if it needs to get cheaper.
Sure.
Then obviously
You got to sacrifice
you
somewhere.
can't play around with the metal parts. Maybe you can't mess around with the magnetic attached earpads. but
Everything
with-
has its price.
everything has its price.
Yeah, absolutely.
But will not sacrifice sound quality over that.
I love it.
That's really our goal. Our claim is making passion heard, and that only works if you have the right sound.
Awesome. And I met you last year. How
Yeah.
do you feel this year has been versus last
I mean,
year?
it's bigger.
Bigger, right?
There's much more people. There's much more stands. I mean, not only in part of that, there's more customers here, right?
Yeah.
Also, there's much more people who are showing their stuff, and I mean, I'm really happy to be back here because I can always talk to people which I seen last year, and yeah, and they keep asking about our new stuff, and they're really happy about what we have right now.
I love your product line. I mean, I'm gonna sound like a fanboy, but like, I mean, after I met you last year, and then my number one thing I wanted to review
Yeah.
was your guys' products, and then after I heard it, I remember discussing with Jason, like, you have to hear their stuff. It is so good, and it fits in a really great price range, right? Like, there's a lot of value, similar to you
Yeah.
get a lot of value
We
and
have-
for
We have
performance.
similar philosophy.
Yeah, similar philosophy, a lot of value for performance, fantastic sound quality. And then I was just so excited that we got to start carrying your products at the
Yeah.
source. So yeah, huge fan, and I can't wait to hear those. So
We'll make that happen.
awesome. So Philip and Max, thank you guys so much for joining
you very
us.
much.
You guys are always a pleasure to have, and stay tuned. We're going to continue to have live streams going on today and tomorrow, and let us know in the comments of the videos who you'd like to hear from. And if you couldn't make it to CanJam SoCal 2024, that's why we're here to stream for you. So we look forward to seeing you on the next stream. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.